like to start with our topic, and I would like to start working with differentiation and hard lines. And I would like to riff off of something that you just said, how you're looking for a partnership with your vendors. So can you explain a little bit about that? What are you looking for, and what makes those vendors, especially in hard lines, different than some other ones that you may choose?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, we like to meet the people. Mm-hmm. We like, to visit them to visit us, so we can see what we're all about. And we try to work on programs. If it isn't set up by a buying group like HTI or Gourmet Catalog, and to help us stand out. Because some brands you have to carry because people want them, and some brands you have to find because they're really neat. But I guess what I would say is, we can only do what we do best, and the larger stores, they're always going to have something that they do better. And so, whether you're looking for a gift with purchase, you're looking for a custom assortment that somebody else doesn't have, or then for the customer side, because this is what really matters, is selling a product, anyone can do that, but to give the customer a better experience, we like to learn about the products and then convey that to the customers, put our own little spin on it, or bet you didn't know you could do this. So the partnership we look for is usually starts, we ask a lot of just in-depth questions. The customers, the way that they look at products is different now. They don't want to be sold to, and especially online. So we want to make it a really enjoyable experience so that when they get the product, they're happy with it.
When you're as a small business, which y'all all know, we're paying bills, we are trying to talk to every customer, trying to figure out what everybody wants. So the vendor thing is probably my most important, and getting one that has good quality and the things that I like about it. But to me, it's getting one that's standing right behind you that'll come do the demos and will work right with you. We do our own, but it's nice when they're there to help.
Jane, what do you feel like you would need from vendors to be successful when it comes to differentiating product mix?
The great thing about all of our vendors and our reps, it seems in our territory that the reps have never left their jobs. So they've been there for 20, 30 years. And so they're very honest when they walk through the door the first time, and they go, you know what, I don't care how big this first order is, Jane, I want the second and the third and the fourth. Mm-hmm. So I'll do whatever it takes. And what I appreciate is, when we first started, my naivete to how deep do I go into a line, what is this thing, and they explain everything so well, and they're very honest, like, don't put your money there. It hasn't flown at all in any of my, stick with this, it's a known bestseller, stay with the known bestsellers and you will succeed. So if I see something out in a catalog, and I can feel free to call them, or see something online and go, what do you think? Think you should come up and show this to me? And they're all in Chicago. They're only about 50 miles away. Mm-hmm. So it's been a great partnership, and the great thing is they become very close friends. So, and friends want friends to succeed. Yep. So I want them to succeed. They want me to succeed, and building that relationship has really helped to build our business.
Yeah. Jeff, I'd like to ask you the same question.
Sure. So really, in the digital age now, there's definitely something to be said for building personal relationships with your suppliers. They are great resources to get information from. Since I'm still new to the organization, I'm still in that process of trying to meet face-to-face with a lot of our suppliers. But they can give you so much information and insight, and really opening up the lines of communication. Even if it's something you may not want to hear, sometimes there's things that you need to hear about your assortment or how you're operating your business, or when you have to have those hard discussions of costs, and if you have to do a markdown or to get out of a product because it's not working. Yeah. Those relationships will really help to get you through those situations.
Yeah. Darren, you too.
Save me for last time. Yeah, as far as partnering with vendors, it's a partnership. It absolutely has to go both ways. I think you mentioned about having samples. I think that's crucial. If my staff is going to get behind something, or if I'm going to get behind something and explain what it is, I have to have it. And we have a lending library for everybody who works with us. So I strongly suggest them take stuff home, bring it back, especially if I like it. It helps them figure out, well, what's the difference between a hammer stall pan and an all-clad pan?
Yep.
What do I care about nonstick? Do I want a traditional nonstick or do I want a ceramic? And then what knives do I use and why? So I strongly encourage our staff to understand all the products, and that comes from that partnership and the samples that we may get, and the education from our sales reps. They have the advantage or disadvantage, depending on your perspective. They're on the road, so they're seeing a lot of different stores, and they see a lot of different types of stores, and they see what works and what doesn't work. And when they can bring a good idea to us that we can implement, that's a partnership. And then going to the manufacturer, bring us good products at the right price that protect us, so that we're not fighting with a person who pulls out their cell phone and says, yeah, well, I can get it cheaper on xyz.com. So protect that price is so important, because we're there sitting with them face to face, and I want that sale rather than saying, thanks a lot, I'll see you later, and in the car they're ordering and have it in a couple of days.
Yep.
That's not a delayed sale, it's a missed sale. Will I ever get that customer back as a customer? And that's the challenge. You have to protect that pricing. It's crucial. We've dropped lines that have lost control. I'm not going to fight for pennies. I want to give that customer the service that they deserve, and I want to give that brand the representation that they deserve.
It's come to the point for me to say, do a lot of the operational things in the stores. Like, I have decided I can't worry about Amazon anymore. Their warehouse is 50 miles down the road, and I can't control what I can't control. But I can control what I can control. And all I know is that when times are tough, people stay at home and eat. And when times are good, they want better stuff. So it's, really as simple as that. So what I do to keep on top of that is I am extremely involved with the city. And in my downtown business improvement district and city planning, I want to know ahead of time who's coming to town, who's building what, how many jobs are available, have you filled those jobs, where are they going to live, where are these apartment houses planned? Oh great, there's one being built right next door to the store with 80 new kitchens. So, and then now I get to market to them, but I need that information in advance. So by befriending the city and befriending and working really hard to plant flowers downtown and becoming visible and making our place the place to go in the city, that's what I can control.
Sarah?
This is really hilarious because I was going to talk about the city too, but I'll take it from a little bit, yeah. But from a little different angle, we know that we have traction. To Mom's point, we have the ins with the city. We've got a relationship. We're working really hard to get information. But when we talk about growth in 5 years, how we translate that, I feel confident that we are a destination right now, but the downside to that is that I feel like everything is scheduled. Everything is an event, and we have to work to get people in for a demonstration or for a class. I want it to feel more organic. Like, I would love it to be more foot traffic and make our downtown beyond just relish, make our downtown really a foot traffic destination, whether it's the new apartments coming in and the people that's going to bring, or bringing more jobs downtown, whatever the case might be. I really want to have our mark be that we've made our community better and we've made things happen a little bit more smooth, and come into Relish and you trip into an experience and not necessarily come because I asked you to come at this time on this day.
Michael, when you opened the store, you said that you had stayed with the original assortment at first and then moved into what you really found was working. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that's made a difference in your business and how you've selected those products? And
Sure, yeah. We compete with big box stores and online like everybody else. We wanted to pick a couple of categories that we could own, that we could be known for, that were kind of relevant to the area that we operate in. The first one that we picked was the coffee department. Asheville and Black Mountain are big coffee towns. We have a couple of roasters right in town. So we invested heavily in that compared with what we inherited. So we brought in lots of products. We have Jura, even though we're a little store, we've got the C60 there. We happily make coffee for people when they come in. We have our own little sign on there asking for a demo. Staff loves walking in the morning and pressing the button. We have a local roaster who we kind of partner with. We carry their coffees. They're roasted fresh. We bring him in like once a month to do tastings of what he's got coming off the roaster. That was really the first step we did, and it definitely resonated with people. They were really interested in all the different ways that you can make coffee. Right? You've got drips, you've got pour overs, you've got AeroPresses, which nobody knows what it does, but they always pick the box up. That was our first start, and I think that we've done well with that.
Sarah, as a newbie, what have you found with your assortment that's working, not working, and how are you differentiating that from other
I
channels?
always look for like a vendor with a story. So we went with Southern Firefly, and it's like a small company, and the candles are hand poured by 7 people. People like to buy products that are US made and that have a good story. And I've been partnering with, all the vendors that I have existing, but I love the vendors that come to the store, do demos, train the staff, give us free stuff. Can I say that? Give us free stuff. I just did. The relationship marketing has been good. And then, we've had some local vendors come in and do trunk shows, which is pretty cool.
Ginger, you also mentioned trunk shows. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that brings maybe new clientele into your store? And
when we've paired up with local folks like 1818 Farms, who I brought Natasha with me last night, she and I have some of the same customer base, but then she has hers and I have mine, and so we've been able to cross-promote each other by bringing in local people. We also have local art in the store, and I'll bring them in periodically to feature their art.
how about Made in the USA? How does that help you?
Well, there's a lot of traction with that trend right now, because there's been a lot of poor quality products coming out of some other countries, and so people want to gravitate towards that, and they just they want to feel proud of the things they own. But I would say that other countries, if they could have that same story behind their product and back it with quality, in this day and age, it wouldn't need to be made in the USA. Kids coming out of college, they want to see someone in Thailand or China. They want to see those people do well too. So we're also trying to scope out some of those brands where we can find their story, meet them, make sure they treat their team well. We want to make it about some of those brands where they have the family atmosphere, and put a face to their product.
Yeah. How important is it for you to put a face to your product? Jeff, I'd like to start with you.
With the suppliers,
Or a story behind it.
especially made in America product,
Yep.
I think it's very important. We have to educate the consumer on what it is and why it's different, outside of just saying it's made in the US. I think people like to have that nostalgic feeling with the product that they're purchasing. They want to know that what they're getting is actually helping another family to make their living, and you're helping a US company to continue to grow. So I think it's really just about education, telling them what the product is, how it's different from other things that you can get in the market, and taking it from there.
Great. There.
Yeah, I think absolutely made in the US or actually made outside of China, whether it's in Thailand or whether it's in France or whatever, I think is crucial. I think a lot of the consumers that we get coming in and that we work with, they're looking for that differentiation. They want to know that it's quality, whether it's reality or not is not the point, but the consumer's perception is what's coming out of China is not the best quality. And their perception is their reality. So we do look for brands that have a story behind it. Just because it's made in the U.S. doesn't mean it's a better product. But if it's made in the U.S. product and made in the U.S. with pride, and here's why, and here's how they approach it, and it's a family-owned foundry for the last 3 generations, it helps the consumer connect more with the product, and that's part of the story, and helps them understand why they should buy that from us versus going down the street and going to Walmart and buying something at half the price, less than half the quality. So I think made in the U.S. is important, but made in France, made in Germany, in some cases a small batch made in Thailand or wherever it might be, people are looking for that connection, especially as this younger consumer is more aware of what's going on in the world, and they want to connect and feel that they're making a small difference that makes a huge difference in their buying patterns, and they will pay a little bit more if there's a story behind it because they feel good about it.
I see you agree, Kelly. You wanna
Yeah,
add?
very much
Please.
so. They want
Yeah.
to hear a story. They want to hear that money's going back to something, whether it be the putting water in a place, but it's this generation, because I think they've lost a lot of connection. I know you do all online, but because of the online, so what I'm finding is they really need, even when somebody walks in the store, and it's the younger ones now, it's interesting to me, they need the connection more than the older ones do, and sitting there talking to them, and then they want to hear a story about each of the products, but they love the give back, whether it's a U.S. company doing something good or doctors doing something, that they're giving money back to, but that's what I'm finding a lot of too. But signage has been real big for us, and I was not good at it for a long time, but thank goodness the vendors are coming in now, and they're bringing in, this is what we do, because you can still only cover so much of your store. I mean, I can only bring in so much help and pay, so much. So the signage has been a big part of that.
We have a saying that we're trying to find a way to put it online, but it's all about taste, right? If you go to a hardware store to get a drill bit, like you didn't want a drill bit, you need to make a hole. If you get a German machine, if you're shopping for cookware, you didn't just say, you know what, I need more pans. You want to do something with them. You want to create something for your family or your friends that you can be proud of, that you made to serve them. And you want to find products to make your life easier so you can spend more time with your family and friends rather than slaving away in the kitchen or not having them over because you don't think you can serve them the quality of food or drink that you really want to give them. And so that's what we want to focus on is what can you do with this product? And so with videos for demos, in-use photography, recipes to send with it. We're working on a follow-up tool, like on an online purchase, that stays in touch with them and continues to educate them and hopefully draw them back to buy more stuff. But we just want to focus on what they can do with what they buy, as opposed to, this is a really good product. You got to start there. But what can you do with this product?
We're not going to always compete just on price against certain other online retailers. And really what we need there is, again, from the partnerships with our suppliers, is to level the playing field. If you're going to implement a policy or a rule of some sort, you've got to do it to everybody and not just your mid to small retailers. And then from there, it's really focusing on the assortment and having the product that the consumer is looking for.
I think one of the things that, just personally, I'd always like to do on our store or, in the store is help them discover something that they didn't know that they were looking for. I've seen other retailers do this online. They're like, we've got these glasses from Portugal, and that's what we're interested in today. And I'd love to be able to do that for a customer where they're like, oh, J.L. Hufford's, they've got this product. I didn't want it, but now I do because they've got it.
So I'd like to switch gears just a little bit. We did talk about a lot of the bigger vendors and how they can help you really differentiate. But what about the smaller guys, the local guys, the cutting board that you mentioned? How do they help you differentiate, and what do you need from them to be successful and work with them and form a partnership? So Sarah, actually, I'd like to start with you.
Well, you kind of need the same thing, partnership, right? So, the other thing that I've been navigating too with them is how we pay. So we do a lot of stuff on commission, which seems to be working. But yeah, and oftentimes they're not business people. So we have them in to do events. We do a lot of social media, which is cool. Videos, live videos, Insta stories, or whatever. But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's the same as working with a big vendor. I mean, you just want a quality product that's local, that's unique. And the people that I've been working with, actually, they do the same thing. They're not going to sell their product to everyone. So I'm the only place in Virginia that has Timberwolf cutting boards, and I'm the only store in Virginia ever anywhere, I think, that has the paintings. So I mean, it's the same type of relationship, I think, with the little guys as the big guys.
Yeah. Kelly, what are some of the local products that are working for you in your store?
With me, I think local's food. I mean, everybody just thinks jarred food, they're going to take that home. That and dish towels. I mean, anything you can put your name on. And so any type of local person that can put something about Greenville on it, they're going to buy. And that's an easier thing to make. Even I got a neighbor across the street, and she manufactures and sends it to everybody all over. So she uses my store as her thing. So anything that you can get a name on, this your local. But it's really, with me, it's food. So we go to the local farmers market, try to get anybody that's new down there that'll have any kind of life, on a shelf.
Yep.
that we get in, and that really works, and it works because then it gives them a place where they can come when it's not a Saturday or when it's in the middle of January to be able to get it. But I don't do the local paintings or any of that. I've tried to stick just with things that kind of stick out, in the store that people would relate to come to the cook station to get, but it's really well. They all want something. Unfortunately, I think my problem is a lot of stuff's made in the lower part of the state instead of the upper part of the state. Right. They like the Charleston stuff. But it's been really good gaining those partnerships. The more that the farm to table is coming on, and people think raising your own stuff and bringing that in makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Where do you source, besides the farmers market, your local goods from?
It's the farmers market, and then whoever comes in the store. To me, it's a little different because I've been there 20 years. Mm-hmm. So if somebody new's coming in, I've got the advantage that there's nobody else to go to, so they have to come to me on that. So I'm cheating. So it's been real easy. But with the exception of that, and just studying, going online and studying who's putting stuff out there too. We have found a couple of cute prints and things like that from Etsy, and looking and saying, oh, she's from here, and I've called them and done that. But as a whole, they've been coming in.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Ginger, how do you source your local products?
I've been sourcing local products for a long time, because before the cupboard opened, I ran nonprofit museum shops. And within that realm, having local things, because you had so much of a tourist market with that, was really important. So any arts and crafts festivals is a good place to go. They don't have to know that you're shopping to bring them in somewhere. So you don't have that pressure of someone thinking, oh, I've got to sell her something. Because until you approach them, you're just some oddball that's wandered into their festival. Right. So that's a good way to go. Looking online, it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but I stalk other kitchen stores on Instagram. And,
oh my God, block your Instagram, guys.
And it's like, oh, what's that? And some of them, I'm like, put on there what that is. I am in Alabama, you're in Texas. Nobody's trying to steal anything from you. And so you're zooming in like, okay, who is that? What is that? So that's a good source. And then we're lucky enough that people, come in, and we have kind of the reputation of lots and lots of local, lots of handcrafted things in the store. And so our vendors who know other makers of something say, oh, you need to go see Ginger, and that's great. So that's a good source too.
If it has a story that helps us sell it and make it personal, that we can say, hey, did you want to sample this honey or this syrup? It's made by a farm outside of town, and Farmer John is really into it and he's gonna come in next week and, you know, give the whole history behind it. Or somebody comes in and they see a crocheted or a knitted dishcloth and they're like, oh my gosh, my grandma used to make these, and they make that personal connection to it. And it helps the local folks too that are trying to get a leg up. It's challenging then when the local folks grow and then all of a sudden they're found in bigger stores and they get bigger opportunities, and then you have to say, oh, this personal relationship that we cultivated, we might need to take a step back from this now because it's going a little bit more mass. But then you get to go in and find the next one. So even though we lost our amazing toffee person that we had for the first 3 years we were open, we've got a newbie coming in now that's just as fantastic, and we can help them grow in the same way we like to think we help the other company grow as well.
You know, past generations cooked out of necessity, and so they're very used to that. And as time has changed, this upcoming generation, most of them don't even know how to boil an egg. So it's really education of what is the product, how do you use it, what does it do, and is it a necessity? They don't want just a kitchen filled with stuff. They want the basic necessities of, you know, if I got to make breakfast, lunch, or dinner, what are the essentials that I've got to have to do that, and how do you use it? So we actually do a lot of educational videos that shows different types of products. In our test kitchen, we actually have an in-house chef that will create, you know, meals. And walk you through step by step how to use the product and what pan is good for eggs versus a pan good for grilling a steak, or, you know, different things like that. And we'll also actually give recipes online as well for them to, once they buy the product, they get it, they can actually try out a recipe at home.
Well, one thing that we've done, and we've done it for the whole 20 years, that I know people come back for all the time, is wrapping. So I know that, and I spend a lot of money. I mean, to the point my employees say, I cannot believe you do this. But I will gain more business from being in the back wrapping and coming out and showing this beautiful gift. They always go back and buy something else. I mean, so I'll go from a $50 sale to a lot of times $100 just because they said, you did that? And I think they're wrapping it for themselves half the time, you know, just to take home because they feel good, you know. And I've been busted. I mean, I've had little car coasters where I've had to wrap 15 of them, you know, in a little, and that gets hard, but it makes them stay in the store, and they always come back for the wrapping. It is expensive, but you can get by. You can find cheaper stuff and figure out ways, but that's been a big help with us. We really do feel like if you don't change now, you will not make it. So we're actually doubling the size of our business. We're changing, going more toward some more market styles. I mean, but we've had to do a lot of, the area's changing. So I'm hoping it's gonna really grow, you know, but we are having to put ourselves out and really change the whole way. I'm having to learn what people want. There's more apartments. I'm having to really research, talk to every customer coming in and find out what they want and how we're gonna be able to change to meet that need, because they're different now.